All right. Is it going to work right now? Oh, it's working. Looky here. I went and just fired it up early.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the webinar last night, then we'll get into the grant.
I was doing
Belford.
I'm doing developer versus investor.
Ooh, nice.
You get him, Dale. You get him.
But we're going to talk about grant.
10 seconds.
Belford, right?
Yeah, I didn't watch the video. I got too much other stuff going on.
I didn't do my homework.
You can talk about it.
It's all fine.
Welcome to the Texas Real Estate Radio Network with Mr. Texas Real Estate Jason Bible and Mr. California Investor Robert Orfino. Join us as Jason and Robert talk about the hottest real estate market in the country, the entire state of Texas. Learn why Texas is such a great market to invest in and why it could be strong for years to come. Get ready to talk all things Texas on your new home on the way to the office. Texas Real Estate Radio.
All right, good morning, everyone. Robert and Jason here with you. It's a fine Friday morning.
Restream is. It's up. You know what's so funny in this world of technology? When you really start, let me back up. When you really start using something, you really get a familiarity, but you also end up breaking a lot of stuff. And I feel like sometimes we're the beta testers for Restream. We need to meet those guys. They're in Austin.
Nice.
We need to go meet them and say, hey, you guys know we use your software a lot, so could you fix these 4 or 5 little things here? So today, we're going to talk about a couple of different things. I want to talk about development versus investing. So I got invited. A buddy of mine, Steven, runs a group here in Houston. It's commercial real estate investors, and it's a great group. You and I will be speaking at it. I think I'm doing October, November. So you'll come back sometime next year to talk about Airbnb. I'll be talking about small apartments and that transition from single family to multifamily and commercial. And it fantastic group. And I took a poll. They actually passed the mic around to everybody in the room.
Pass
there
the
were,
mic.
I don't know, 40, 50 people in there. It was past the mic time.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody talked about what they did and, what they're looking for. It's all that kind of stuff, right? And I always find it...
Everyone's looking for 65% ARV deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's looking for some pretty wild stuff. It's the standard real estate fare that you get anywhere else, right? And they came around to me, and it was unfortunate. I couldn't do the Casey Eberhard thing because it was just too crowded. I was going to move my chair around and all that, but I'd really... And the mic pass ended like in the middle, real awkwardly in the middle of the room. So I couldn't get to that spot that Casey always tells you to get to.
Well, you did the next best thing.
I did the next best thing.
Take out your phone.
Take out your phone. So I said, look, everybody, hey, my name's Jason, buy some real estate, just got into commercial. And I said, let me ask you guys a question. Everyone was like, what? You could tell because these typical, here's how these things go. Most people, they start to get a little nervous. They say, okay, here's a microphone. There's 50 people in this room. And you tell them what. So one of two things happens. One is somebody will say, hey, I do this and this. And they're like, my name's Bob. And then they just hand the mic to the next guy. Right. And then you get another type of person that's like, well, I got this and I did this. And I'm looking at these deals. I got this land.
And I do this. And I do that. And I'm also doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is I got introduced to a new term. So most of the time, you run into single-family wholesalers, and they just say, oh, I wholesale real estate, right? Houses, what are you looking for? There, because it's commercial, like the vocabulary jumps up a grade level. And they're like, well, I'm a residential wholesaler.
That's the same thing.
I know it is, but it just I've never heard someone use the term like that.
Got it.
I'm a residential wholesaler. I was like, oh, well. You wear a pair of Oxfords, I guess, when you go on your appointments. Maybe that's what it is. So, And then everybody kept using that same like term. I'm like, this is fun. I've never heard this before.
Right.
It's kind of like I'm a residential redeveloper.
I'm a residential redeveloper.
I'm a residential redeveloper. I pull up in my S550 at my $180,000 house in Katy and make sure it's redeveloped. I'm like, okay. So funny. Anyway, so
don't use investor.
Investor.
You got to redevelop.
I'm a redeveloper.
I'm a redeveloper.
Well, what did the developer before so screw it up that you got to read it?
But that difference is worth $25,000 in the backpack.
That's right. That is true. So, pass the mic around the room, and that's the two type of people, right? That finally gets to me, and I was like, you know what? Let me ask you guys a question. Everybody wakes up because they're just. This is what you hear when it's past the mic time. You hear, "Hey, my name's Bob, and I," and then they pass it to the next guy, pass it to the next guy, and at some point, everyone kind of starts to sound the same. So I said, "Hey, let me get a show of hands. How many of y'all have closed 5 or more commercial deals?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There were 3 in the room.
The wave was not going there.
No, that was not the wave. There were three raised their hands, right? So I said, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to gauge the room here. Because I don't think, have we closed 5 yet? 5 commercial deals?
Close.
Close, yeah, we're getting close. In 6 months or so. Since
about
we got
9 in the pipeline and 3. Yeah, we got 5.
We
got 5. Mm-hmm.
So
they're not stabilized all yet.
Well, that's okay. Mm-hmm. But at least we closed on them, right?
Yep,
so, so going around the room, there's 3 people that said, yeah, this is what I got. I said, okay, look, we got this little radio show. I said, we get deals from all over the place. It's just this constant deal flow that we get. I said, so take out your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you my number. And if you want to be added to my list, then I can do that. And I gave out my number twice, which to date, no one has texted me, which I find fascinating. Although one guy grabbed me at the end and said, hey, I want to make sure I got your number right. I was like, that's fine. So take out your phone. Here's the number. But the speaker at this event, very interesting guy. And he does new Class A RV parks. And the best way to describe what he does is he builds incredible amenities and then provides a place for you to park your RV while you're there for the weekend. I mean, he builds like water parks, and then it's an RV park around it. Very sharp guy, very, very sharp guy. Incredible team. He's been doing this for a number of years now.
So you can just pull up the lab right next to the water park.
The lab. That's about, yeah. It's pretty high end. We have stayed at a couple of these things before.
Got it.
So I haven't stayed at any of his properties, but
we see him. We drive through Rockport and stuff. Oh like that. Some nice ones, yeah.
Really, really nice ones. So I'm sitting there in the back of my mind, and I'm listening to him talk about. He's got 2 projects that are about to be greenlit, about to start.
Nice.
He's got 2 that are in process. They're halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he's kind of pitching, hey, come invest with me, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching this whole thing, and he's talking about packing plants and what happens between stage 1 and stage 2 with their effluent wastewater. They're talking about well-related issues, to get enough water in. That's
all stuff you and I like. We're into that, so we understand.
Yeah. I'm like, this is really cool, right? And I'm looking around the people next to me, and they're like, "What wastewater? Right. That's disgusting." I'm like, "Well, you're not an environmental person, so
right? Yeah, we dig that."
So, but I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, "This guy is building cities."
Yes, mini cities.
Mini cities.
Yes.
That's what. When I got at the end, somebody asked me, like, "What did you think of the presentation?" I said it was amazing, but I said, "You got to understand, this guy has such a high degree of technical skill sets."
Sure.
That he's building cities.
Right.
Like, this is not for normal people.
Do you think he would have been better if he had someone out front selling the dream, like selling the vision? Or was it too technical?
He is definitely not the sales guy at the front of the room.
Gotcha.
He is definitely the get it done, technical. Yeah. He's an amazing dude.
Right.
But if I were in his shoes and they're looking to raise money, and I didn't get the impression that he really. I got the impression they have plenty of money, right?
Right.
But this is their sales. This is like,
yes.
If someone tells you speak, come out.
Well,
here.
You're right. There's that 1% in the middle, the management. You got to get paid for what you do. You do it. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So I think that was kind of his thing. But if he had like a real like sales guy, if you will,
sure,
I think it would have been. But it was an excellent presentation. What was fascinating is when I'm sitting there, and the guy has an MBA from Rice, so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this whole thing, And in the back of my mind, I'm looking around the room, and here we are. The vast majority of the folks in the room have closed 5 deals or less. And I'm like, and don't get me wrong, what he's showing is amazing.
Right.
But I'm like, the dude is building cities.
Right. Yeah.
And then I started to poll the room afterwards. Like, who are these people really?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard something I found absolutely fascinating. The vast majority of the folks in that room were moving into commercial real estate because there's, quote, less competition.
Right.
There's less competition in commercial real estate. And what they're really saying is, ergo, I can then be successful in commercial real estate, unlike single family.
I talked about it yesterday for about 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the skill sets.
Yeah, they don't have the skill sets.
So they're just kind of looking for the next little shift, the next little gimmick, the next little easy, chasing that squirrel, that shiny object that makes it easier for them. And now it's strip malls.
That's true. Yeah.
Do you have any idea how many people have lost fortunes and family fortunes on strip malls? How many people have been devastated in that world?
Yeah.
Unreal.
Did you see? You and I got an email yesterday. They wanted us to look at a medical office building in Kansas to convert to.
Excellent follow up though with her.
Yeah, she's very good at the follow up. Very good.
Yes. Like, you got to be selling something else.
Yeah, exactly. You could be doing stocks or
whatever,
mutual funds or something. She was really good. Basically, I told him, like, we don't have any. I don't know anything about Kansas. I know healthcare. I know medical office buildings, but I don't know how that converts into, assisted living and all that. I'm like, this is way over my head. So, in any case, as I'm polling the folks around the room, they said, and I've heard this a million times in commercial real estate. I moved into, or I want to be in commercial real estate because it's less competitive than single family. And I'm like, that's true in aggregate, meaning the number of people looking for deals. But I said, you need to understand your competition in commercial real estate is extremely sophisticated. Like, these are not stupid people. Mm-hmm. This is not, you're not trying to buy a house from Mima or off of MLS for 60 cents on the dollar. These are sharks. I mean, these are not in the mean sense of way, right?
No, not at all.
They're just extremely sophisticated folks.
With absolutely zero emotion.
Right.
We will come in and take that back from you in 36 hours because that's what we've decided we're going to do.
Well, it was interesting. One of the brokers that I work with, one of the commercial brokers, I remember when I called her and I said, hey, I got this property I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And I told her what side of town I was on. She's like, oh, yeah. She knew the name of it. Mm-hmm. She knew the last time it sold. And she was like, yeah, it sold like 2 or 3 years ago for like $12 million. And this is what's going on with it. And I'm like, how do you, and then in the back of my mind, I'm like, how did you know that? I'm like, of course you know that. Because that's your little market that you're in. Mm-hmm. And you know every single asset that's sold. You know all the owners. It's just, so in any case, long story short, folks are moving into commercial because it's, quote, less competitive. Ergo, it could be easier. But the fascinating thing I thought is, do folks know the difference between being a developer and being an investor? Because when this guy was presenting about these RV parks, he said, I only hold these 2 to 3 years and I'm off to the next one.
Yeah, it's a developer.
He's a developer. Sure. He's not an investor.
No.
But so many people were sitting in that room looking at that as, oh, I want to do that as an investment.
10 years, yeah.
And I'm like, that's not how this works. I know very few developers that are successful investors and vice versa.
Got it. Hey, we're gonna come back from the break. We're gonna talk more about this. Second half of the show, we're gonna talk about Uncle Grant, Jordan Belfort. So hopefully you've watched the video. If you haven't, go ahead and jump in there, take a look. We're gonna talk about that in the second half of the show. We will be back. Texas Real Estate Radio. What? Which one? Oh. Someone talked about it too. What's the quote? What's the quote?
Oh, it's deal with the sting. Cold calling is anxiety inducing, but it has to be done. You could be the first day, you'll suck, the sting will quit, you'll get better every day.
Oh. Hey guys, make sure you give us some likes and loves. We're going to be talking about Jordan Belfort and the Grant Cardone thing in the second half of the show. That was really wild. Hopefully you guys have watched it. We're going to also be commenting on it on our Mr. Texas Real Estate group. So make sure you go to Facebook group, join Mr. Texas Real Estate with Jason Bible and Robert Orfino. That's the group. Go ahead and make sure you get in there. sign up. We'll approve you. You gotta read it. Give us your email address. You gotta say yes. You're not going to spam it, and then we'll approve you in. I think about 40 people signed up yesterday, and I only approved about half because you didn't answer all the questions. So make sure you answer all the questions. Jump in there, and we'll be good to go. And then we're going to talk about that all weekend long. If you have not watched that video, it is pretty, from a guru world, it's pretty funny, pretty shocking. I think it's interesting to see the people that move from one side of it say, I was Uncle Grant, now I'm over in Jordan, and the folks that don't really care. But it was absolutely a pretty interesting video. So make sure you join the Mr. Texas Real Estate Group. And you got to answer both questions, guys, or I'm not going to approve you in. Like 40 people joined yesterday, and then only half of them
10 seconds.
Did the questions. Someone was from Nigeria, so I don't think they're interested in the conversation.
Can you turn mine down a little bit? Right.
Yeah, I think we're getting like 20 to 40 people a day.
It's
that are trying
good,
to join
yeah.
our group,
I'm really
so-
happy about that. And I think what we're going to say is, I've been watching some wholesalers in there. If you have a deal that's under contract, feel free to post. If you're just spamming to get buyers and build your buyers list, we're not going to allow those posts.
No, I've been deleting them.
Yeah, just, hey, hit me up. I'm a wholesaler. No, I'm not going to do that. You got to come with the deal and then be prepared to answer real questions on the deal.
That's right.
Right? So this isn't going to be a place where you spam it and run away and hope people, because if you're not interacting and defending that deal and explaining that deal, we're going to pull it.
Yeah. And I got no problem banning folks. I used to run way back in the day. I used to run a car. I was one of their head moderators of a car group.
Nice.
And I was just hit him with the band hammer. Like, this guy, get him out of here. I mean, you could tell within 5 minutes, like, you don't need to be here. So in any case, it's a fantastic group, the Mr. Texas Real Estate Group on Facebook. Just jump in there. We do have to approve membership. We don't let everybody in. So there's 2 questions you got to answer. Just answer those 2 questions.
And then we'll post that video from last night on the Mastermind. That was a good group last night. So
okay.
We're trying to gear people up. We're not taking people the day before the Mastermind because there's things you have to do. So this window of opportunity is open between now and September 30th if you want to come in for the next session. So we'll get that going.
So it was a fascinating this event I was at was fascinating because so many people, everyone wants to be an investor. Yeah. And I want to start, maybe that's the question we need to start asking. In your mind, what does an investor do every
I don't
day?
want to be an investor.
Yeah. What do you want to be, Rob?
I want to manage companies. That's what I enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm. You know, so many people say that Warren Buffett made his money on the stock market. And I'll tell you right now that is unequivocally false. He made his money by taking control of companies, which is a big difference. Now, the medium
the same thing we do. He stabilized them and turned them around. That's exactly what we do. Yep.
He would go in and buy them at book value.
Mm-hmm.
His medium that he was operating in was the stock market because they could go and buy a controlling equity interest in something.
Shoe company or something, yeah.
He would look for good management, buy it at book value, which is essentially asset value, and then turn it around. It's really hard to screw that model up. It's almost impossible, which his mentor, Benjamin Graham, taught him all about at Columbia. So it's in any case. So if you want to be an investor, go be an investor. If you want to be a developer, go be a developer. You can't do both. No. I know 0 folks that are successful doing both. In fact, I'll take you even a step further. You have to pick one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're a developer, you will file for bankruptcy at some point.
Yes, at least once.
At least once in your career.
Probably 3 or 4 times.
That's more than likely. Probably 3 or 4 times.
But that's good when. So here's the thing. I had an investor tell me this is a very small town. You're right, for sure, in the investor community, right? When you lose money on a single family house with a private investor, that could pretty much destroy your career. Mm-hmm. When you're a developer and you're building 900 tract homes and you go belly up in the last third of it and declare bankruptcy, so what?
Yeah, nobody cares.
So what? It's really a higher level of of investing, of working with other people's money and bank money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no one has a problem if you lose the bank's money,
That's right.
right? Even though that's still someone's money.
Right.
It's still someone's money, but we have this little thing where it's like, hey, this guy bought a flooded home and didn't sell. He lost $100,000 from me, and then we don't like that.
Right.
But the developer, who for sure is going to go bankrupt,
Mm-hmm.
anyone who comes up to you who says they're a developer, my line is always this. This is how I say it, and you've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh man, how many times have you gone bankrupt?
Yeah.
I ask them straight up, and usually they get pale and their face goes real flush, and they're like, yeah, had some rough times.
You know what my favorite is? Because, they strut around that room.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I'm a developer.
I'm a developer. You're investors, but I'm a developer.
I'm a developer. And you see it, and it's not just Texas, because we like to strut around.
No, it's everywhere,
right?
especially in Jersey. Oh, my goodness.
They strut around, I'm a developer, and you go, oh, man, whew. How many times do you file BK?
Right.
And then it's like the veil drops. Now, when that veil drops, that's when you realize they are actually a developer.
Right.
Now, if they say, I don't know what you're talking about, I kill it all the time.
Nah, they're just there.
They're like, oh, you're just some clown.
Houses.
You don't know what you're doing.
A fortune builder guy.
Yes, but if it's somebody who's an actual developer, oh yeah, man. The last guy in California, he was like, oh yeah, dude, 3 times.
3 times. And then it wind up sleeping on my father-in-law's couch for a year.
Yeah.
Right? That's straight up what he told. Now, it was also in Laguna, so it's not a bad couch to sleep on.
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, I wound up sleeping on my father-in-law's couch for 3 years.
Yeah, man, we totally got crushed.
Right. But that's still someone's money.
Yeah.
Right. So we're kind of cavalier, right, when it comes from a bank.
Yes.
Like, we're okay in this investor world if the bank lost money, right?
Yes.
But if you lose one person's $25,000, oh my God. But it's the same world. It's the same dang street.
What I always find fascinating with the discussion about private lenders, and we've never lost any private lenders' money. We've always paid them back. They've always got the return that they asked for.
Same here, maybe not on time, but for sure.
Yeah. Well, projects take longer.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's part of the deal, right?
Recoup, yep.
So what's fascinating to me is that we talked about this the other day. Is no one calls up Apple when it drops 5%
right.
overnight.
Right.
But if you're holding on to some flood house you're flipping for an extra 6 months, people start losing their mind.
Oh.
And I'm like, do you call Apple?
Well, I think part of it is what can be controlled and what can't be controlled. They can't call the stock market. They're not going to call the NASDAQ. But man, they can call you.
That's right. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's an interesting dynamic there.
If you're going to call yourself a developer, you're going to at some point it's the musical chairs, right?
Yes.
You get left without a seat.
And so what's so fascinating about this guy, and I could see, and I didn't want to say anything because it's not my room, right? He said, I only
That's
hold
never
these.
Stopped you before.
And I know, but this is really not. And it's a new group, but I don't want to be that guy, right? Yet.
Not day one.
Not day one. So he says, well, I only hold on to these 2 or 3 years.
Smart.
And everybody around the room had this perplexed look on his face. And I was standing in the corner. I couldn't sit any longer. So I'm standing in the corner, and I almost said, so he's not left holding the bag when the market changes.
No, he's probably got an occupancy rate that he hits. And
Yes.
once he hits that for trailing 6 or trailing 12, he's out.
That's exactly what it is. In fact, he hits a certain, and he even said, if I held on to these for another year or two, then I could even get into a better sale price. But he said, I don't like to hold on to them for more than 2 to 3 years. And I'm like, this is a sharp guy because he gets it. Right? He understands that you've got to get out.
We talk about that too with just the apartments that we're doing. We have a 5 or 7 year horizon, which may be 3.
Yeah.
Like in these docs that we're writing, it says we can sell as quickly as 3.
Yeah.
Like we can just be out of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as it hits a good number, sell. Don't be greedy with this stuff.
Yeah. The stuff you keep is the stuff you pay off.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So you can absolutely start that strategy of selling in year 3 so that in year 5, you've got 25, 30% of your portfolio is paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is Robert and Jason. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. We're going to be back, and when we come back to the second half, we're talking about that great battle online, Jordan Belfer and Grant Cardone. Make sure you go to Mr. Texas Real Estate Group to sign up. We're going to do our online discussions there. Got a bunch of people watching. Hey, everyone, give us some likes and loves, please. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I got a bunch of people on here.
Yeah, some likes and loves. Share this. Share it. Next, we're going to work with Casey to come up with a contest
Okay.
to get people to like, love, and share our
Ooh,
content.
I like that.
And subscribe over on YouTube. So
We do need to build the old YouTube channel.
we do. Yeah, we're going to start working on that. But we've got some beach weekends to give away.
Ooh.
We definitely got some beach stuff. I just bought $7,000 worth of crap down there. So that's coming, and I just bought another $4,000 of crap for the heights in your secret spot.
Ooh, secret spot.
So that's good.
You know, I was doing the math on my secret Airbnb. Even if we don't rent that thing, it pays for itself just in the appreciation.
Yes.
It's kind of funny.
It's
when you
right.
think about it.
Right, and that's what we're trying to do is to get these things stabilized so we can figure out the cash flow. That's the biggest thing. They're all making money. They're all making money.
Yeah,
they're all making money.
Just sitting there.
I can't wait to see what the real estate is next year. 3 years out from
That's
our
gonna be insane.
the beach.
Oh,
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah, so we got the Airbnb. So we're going to do another, if you can help us out, we're going to ask for some help on probably Wednesday and then maybe Saturday if you're not on the bus tour. I don't want to compete with myself. But these are easier. These are much, much easier help. We don't have any more furniture to put together. We've got there's a couple of beds, and we're moving beds around. Upgrading Ray's to all king, taking those 2 queens, moving those over to Thunder. We're setting up a little bit better.
Okay. What's I gonna do here?
Buy a car. Is that time of the day to look at the cars?
Yeah. Well, I closed my Gmail down because it's getting a little too tempting right now. I think I'm gonna end up buying an NSX. I think that's what I'm gonna get.
So we only have 2 more JVs. After this, we're never doing another Airbnb JV.
Okay.
2 more. And so one guy's looking at them both,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll just, if he doesn't take them both, then he's definitely take one, and we'll push the last one.
Push the last one out.
That's
okay.
it.
Okay. The rest will all just be run through the fund.
It won't even be the fund. We'll be self-liquidating. We'll be self-funding because the money coming off the Airbnb, we can just go ahead and buy everything we need. Yep. Every 3 months we can buy another Airbnb. Every 3 months we'll be able to buy another Airbnb. We want to do that for the next 18 months.
Yeah. 1 minute. That one guy still hit me up for the one that's on the beach. We may send that out to the group. I don't know.
Well, we do have one for the group, so we got to do that. We got a ton of duplexes.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to take one, and then that triplex may make sense, but we still got 4 duplexes.
Yeah.
And the ones that need the repairs are really, really deep. That one is...
That's a good deal.
Those are good deals. The other ones' numbers work. They're right at the 1%, but those ones that need the repairs, it's about $100,000 repair for both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, for both of them. So you get...
Well, I saw that foundation bid, and I was like, okay.
That's not bad.
Well, I knew they were going to have to lift the house in the back. When I looked at it, I was like, okay, we're going to have to do something there.
Was it 95 for all of them?
It was, 13.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad.
It was like $9,500, I think, for the back one.
Yeah, that's not bad. Man, I love that wholesaler. Can you also get me roof bids too, dude?
Yeah. Well, you know what helps is that's George's guy, so they're also
got
and all
it.
that.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
And when he said, "Hey, I got a foundation guy," I'm like, "Well, just go send your guy out."
Yeah, send him out.
They're all working that area anyway.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So, and he's probably the best suited for that because he does 10 of those a week or something.
That's really one of the top 5 benefits of being in the mastermind is the fact that you're going to get access to our off-market deals first.
Yes.
First. So right now we have 4 extra duplexes.
Yes.
So they're going out to the group. Some people are going to pass don't have the capital already involved in it. But, that's why we told them last night, if you sign up, you're going to get access. We have 4 extra duplexes. We have 1 Surfside Airbnb extra. So people are interested. So if you didn't watch the mastermind video last night, we'll send out a link to watch it with the links to join. and get in. Let's get going. It's a mastermind for folks that want to do buy and hold like we're doing it. Maybe not 11 million in 7 months, but definitely want to get some properties going.
I think we have contracted, I started doing the numbers yesterday, between 8 and 12 houses, not 8 and 12 houses, sorry. Some of those are small multifamily and all. 8 to 12 contracts in the last 24 hours.
Yes, and on Monday I told you no more properties.
Yeah.
I said no more. We've got to stabilize these. We're not buying anything else. And then, of course,
and then it's like, and then I start getting these emails. I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Let's go with this one. I'm supposed to look at a triplex.
Yeah, look at that. Hopefully those are good. Yeah.
I sent another note.
We'll give the 12 unit to the group. I think there's
that
Rudy.
12 unit is rehabbed, and it's a beautiful. From the pictures I've seen, the video he's done, it's a good looking property.
Yeah.
It really is. And
what's the price point? You know?
I don't know yet. I just said, hey man, just send me the details when I get over there. So maybe I'll look at those.
Maybe we could take that since we just lost the 8.
Which one was the
Montrose one? He got a little flaky on the price.
Well, that's what I find so fast. We need to run the numbers on that one because I looked at it again last night and I'm like, geez, this is kind of. Anyways, we'll look at the numbers when we're doing breakfast today. We'll sit down and look through the numbers. But in any case, so we're buying a lot of stuff and we sent it out to our mastermind group first. For a number of reasons. So inside our mastermind group, we take our members, and we take you through the process. Like, you just don't show up and say, oh, I want to buy a house today. That's not really how it works. There's a whole process to get you prepared to make an offer that gets accepted, and you're able to close that deal.
Mm-hmm.
So we walk you through.
We know they're ready.
Yeah, when you're ready,
sure
they're ready, right?
Yeah, they're ready.
We walk you through the loan process. We walk you through.
Jeez, I mean, how many of those guys have all done a ton of deals with Jet already? We made Jet a fortune.
Oh yeah,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's there's a whole process that takes place, and we can't just bring you in day one and say, all right, here's a house, go buy it. That's not how that works. You want to be taken through an entire process. In other words, and this is something we say online. This is how we do it.
Yes.
So this is the process that Rob and I use to continue to acquire real estate. And we share that process. You guys use the same process.
Someone from the mastermind's like, I want the 12 unit.
Oh, they listen on Facebook. Like, give me the 12 unit. I promise you. He told me he wants to sell it yesterday. Like, I was having this happy hour thing. Sends me a note and he's like, hey man, I think I want to sell that 12 unit. You were the first one that came to mind. I'm like, excellent. Yes, all these Facebook posts are working.
Really lovely.
So I said, just send me the details when you get a chance. But in any case, the idea is that with our mastermind group, this isn't like some club and you're in there with 500 other people and some people are newbies and some are clueless and some guys are broke and some, are worth $1 gazillion.
No broke people.
So it's a process. This is how we go about buying real estate. And
right.
Even if you're experienced, I can guarantee you're missing some steps.
We're trying to help cover the downside and then the blind spots and all this stuff. Yeah, it's a great group. So if you're interested, you'll see an email go out today.
I think the second thing is kind of like what we just talked about, where we're looking at these 2 houses that we're going to turn into duplexes from a buddy of mine who's a wholesaler here in town. And being the magic in being in this group is being a part of that network, because we've got foundation guys, but I can tell you the foundation recommendation he has is the same guys that he uses on his projects.
Right.
So he just sends me a text and says, hey, you got your guy. If not, here's my guy. And I'm like, well, just use him.
Give us 2.
Yeah, give us 2, right?
Yeah.
So that's the power of being in our mastermind, being in our network, is leveraging all that experience and all the contacts that we've got here in the Houston market. That's why we don't have a mastermind that focuses on New Orleans real estate investing, because I know nothing about New Orleans.
No.
Or Seattle. I can give you some ideas on how to do marketing, that sort of thing, but our group here is specifically focused in South Texas. And so that's getting into that network, I think, is where it makes a whole lot of sense.
So, Jason, there was a big thing happened on the internet about 4 weeks ago, actually. Yeah. And Grant Cardone sat down with Jordan Belfer on Jordan Belfer's podcast, and they don't like each other.
So let's explain real quick who Jordan Belfer is.
He's the Wolf of Wall Street.
He is the Wolf of Wall Street. He is the guy.
Sell me this pen, right?
That's right. Sell me this pen. He is the guy that made that movie out of. Obviously, some of it is fiction, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, that is not too much. Yeah.
I knew a woman who was in that room.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I bet there was even crazier stuff that went on.
She was awesome too.
I bet.
Yeah.
So Jordan Belfort's a Wolf of Wall Street, and Grant Cardone is an apartment investor. Who really started here in Houston. My understanding.
He absolutely. He bought his first single family flip here.
Okay.
Moved from single family into small apartments. Now he does large Class A apartments.
Yeah, beautiful apartments. He's got multiple funds. We share the same attorney.
Same attorney, yeah. So we have parallel paths with him. So we have an affinity towards him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where. So everyone is telling me that Jordan Belfort won, like destroyed him.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, Grant went off the rails like twice.
Mm-hmm.
That made him look buffoonish.
Yeah.
There was the really bad part was he called this guy out and said, "Hey, I'll come to North Carolina and kick your ass." No, wait, that wasn't Grant. That was someone else. Grant says, "Hey, we should do a cage match."
Oh, okay.
We should do a cage match, right? Yeah. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
And but there were subtle digs by Jordan. Jordan was like, he said, "What's this 10x thing?" Grant's like, "You know what 10x is?" He's like, "I have no idea what is it."
Yeah.
What is 10x? What's this event? Or you do some sort of, is it a pitch fest?
Oh, nice.
That was clearly was a dig, yeah. And I think from there, that's when it went off the rails. Before that, I just think Grant wasn't interested in sharing coaching techniques.
Oh, because this is a sales podcast.
Yeah, he went there to just basically fight the beast in his own house.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about that when you come back. And we're really, really interested in your opinion. If you watch it, go ahead and let us know who you thought won that debate. It was funny, though, but he was just, at the beginning, Jordan is stuttering. He's missing words. He's doing a nervous interview.
Really?
Grant has got the power.
Yeah.
And then when Jordan starts digging him, hitting him with these digs, Grant goes a little too Cajun on him. What's that?
It was bad. It was
Yeah, it was. He started cringing, but there was some great lines that came out of it. So I'm watching it, and all I'm thinking is, Grant's preaching to the choir right here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not looking to fight anyone, and I'm not looking to do all this other sales training, but I understand what he's working on.
I noticed a big change in Grant's, maybe not business model, but marketing model, maybe 2 years ago, when he started working on the fund, and now it's like, everything I'm doing, 10X Growth Conference, all that stuff is all predicated on, you can do my sales training.
Cardone Capital.
It's all Cardone Capital. It's all getting money in the fund.
So, guys, if you've watched it, who did you think was the beneficiary of that? Who do you think looked better? Because clearly Jordan was at the beginning. If you go back and watch the video, you'll see that he put the closed caption on, and he's skipping words. He's nervous. I love this business.
I think it's so good.
I love this business, man. Oh my God, what a model. Jeez. They do $300,000 a month out of like 7 offices.
Oh, you're no kidding.
Insane.
And they're just moving paper.
They have so much money, they opened up a real estate brokerage.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy. Hey, we're back. So I'm talking about the video.
Yeah.
And
Wolf of Wall Street versus Cardone.
Right. And I think Grant came out saying, I don't do gimmicks. There's no tricks. There's no, because Jordan's like, let me show you this hack.
Yeah, Grant's like old school sales guy. Look, guys, it's 1,000 phone calls a day.
Right, I mean, that's what
like
it is.
Just grind it out.
Grind it out, right? And then, Jordan's pressing him on, give me a technique. And he's saying, there are no techniques. There are no gimmicks. Yeah. You just got to make the calls.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's a prospect. And they're like, no, everyone's not a prospect. Yeah. And when I watched it, I was just like, boy, these are two big sales D bags.
Yeah.
Right? just guys that I'm like, I don't like either one of them when they get into the salesy stuff. I don't think you or I are salespeople. I think we're good marketers.
No, we're not salespeople.
We're definitely, we can do good marketing. We can do good push marketing. And then when we close, we're always the sort of, we don't give a crap.
Yeah.
That's our close technique. We don't care.
You know how much flack we've gotten for talking about our mastermind on the radio?
Right.
How much it costs?
Oh, my God. From everyone's like, why are you doing that?
No, you're supposed to do a weekend event.
You got to do the weekend event. That's why you get not getting signups. We got just the amount of signups we want.
We got plenty of signups.
Yeah.
Well, what's so funny is like there's you know what? It's 2019.
Yeah.
People know when they're getting sold to.
Yes.
So I don't buy the sales. Now I do buy into, hey, if you're interested, we need to go down. This is the story we've got to tell, right? Like, and that's really more of a marketing presentation.
Absolutely.
But it's not what's the secret sales technique to get. Here's the way I equate it. There was this joke and I was never in car sales, but there was a joke in car sales where like you hand them the contract with the pen, and the pen kind of slides off the contract into their hand.
Pen,
yeah, and then
that's a gimmick.
That's a gimmick, right? And I'm like, come on, man.
Right.
It's 2019, dude.
Right.
You don't. None of that stuff really works.
Oh, and I love it when it's happening to me too because I'm hyper aware of it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, you very good.
Yeah, you did
very
good.
You just reframed the conversation. Yeah. Good on you. And they're looking at me all the time. Like the woman who cuts my hair, she said, "Oh, I can see the follicles in your hair, and you might want some of this special shampoo." I'm like, amazing. I was like, how much of that do you sell? That was great. You slid it right in there. How much of that do you sell? She's like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm like, oh,
yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
You absolutely
and I think the problem is I thought I might have thrown in the derogatory honey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, honey, yes, you are, right? And then after that, I came out looking like my 6-year-old neighbor cut my hair, right? Wasn't good. But she was like selling. I was like, oh, she's upselling. She's great. I'm like, how much do you get on this? Do you get a 25%? What's the kick on it? We don't do any of that. I'm like, you for sure do.
Come on.
You for sure do. And then I just became quiet. I was like, you need to sell. You need to get out of cutting hair and sell something else because that was really nice the way she did it. And I think that's what these guys were arguing about is like, Grant's just like, hey, here's the product. You want to buy the product. Come on, man. Buy the product,
Yeah.
Grant's more of a begging sort of scenario. And Jordan is, I'm going to show you 1,000 little hacks, right? And so they kept going back and forth. But here's the big thing that resonated with me the most. And again, I'm going to say in that video, if you watch it again, the first half of it, Jordan is the lesser. He is the beta. Grant is and they're all talking over each other.
Oh, yeah.
It's really annoying. Like, I think most women I know hate being talked over. So they will find that video insanely disturbing. Right? Whereas two guys will just start yelling and we can listen and talk and have this conversation, it's just, but it's very disturbing that they keep talking over each other. Then in the second half of the video, Grant loses some upper hand and he becomes the lesser, he becomes the beta. So that was really interesting. But Grant said this, which was genius. He said, I'll never have a $10 billion sales training organization, but I will have a $10 billion real estate company.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And I was like, yep. I mean, to me, he won right there. When he said, what are you a better sales? And Jordan's like, you a better sales guy or marketing guy? He's like, I'm a better businessman.
Ooh.
And that was and I'm like, and all these people were like, Jordan won. I'm like, man, no.
Yeah.
Grant slapped him in the face right there. Said, I'm a better businessman.
Yep.
Meaning, you've got your gimmicks, and you're going to go do these little pitches and sell. And he's got a great training
Jordan's
program.
crazy successful.
Yeah. It's not Sandler.
Right.
It's internet-based nonsense stuff, but he's got a good one, and people want to do it.
I believe it's called the straight line sales method.
Straight line sales
method.
It's
very interesting.
Yeah, it's good, and people like it, and that's great. But what he's saying to him is, you can sell as many of those books and tapes as you want. You're not going to have a $10 billion real estate business.
No.
And to me, I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
No matter how much training or masterminds, all the stuff that we do, that's never going to make me $11 million in 9 months.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, because we know the numbers, you're never going to build a $1 billion real estate education program.
Right.
You're never going to build a $1 billion wholesaling organization.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never build a $1 billion house flipping company.
Right.
It won't. Now, you can build a $1 billion Airbnb business,
Yep.
a hotel business, a small apartment business.
Yep.
But you're not going to be able to do any of that other stuff.
No.
Which is one of the reasons I sold all those companies about a year ago today.
Right.
Because I looked at that landscape and I said, you cannot build a $1 billion company.
Is this your anniversary?
It's close. I think it's the 15th.
Nice.
I have to look.
Nice.
But it's the 13th close enough. So you can't build a $1 billion organization selling a lot of that stuff. It just there are a finite number of industries and value propositions in which you can even get close to that $1 billion mark. It's incredibly small. In fact, Cassie, look it up. How many companies exceed $1 billion in, let's just call it revenue?
Sure.
Because I imagine that is an infinitesimally small group of companies. So he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
To get to 10 billion, you can't do it, dude.
Right.
Just your market. The problem is your market's not big enough.
Right.
In fact, I would argue
the entire world.
Yeah.
30 companies.
Yeah. That'll ever 30 what? Percent? 30 exceed $1 billion a year in revenue. Just 30 companies in all.
There's only 30 altogether.
Yeah. So there are 30 companies that will exceed $1 billion a year in revenue.
Right.
So it's incredibly small number. So heck, even cracking $1 million a year, that's a pretty small percentage of companies that small businesses.
Yeah.
So the reality is that there are only certain ways to make $1 billion. Right. I mean, and it's not wholesaling. It's not becoming a real estate agent.
No.
Although Gary Keller, I'd imagine, is a billionaire, right?
No, I don't think he is.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Probably what, 300 million maybe?
Yeah, I think last time I looked, he was like $400 million.
400 million.
Yep.
So even in real estate sales,
right,
you ain't gonna make it.
Nope.
You got to start acquiring these things. So agent, wholesaler, flipper, developer, handful of developers, builders will get that big, but it's pretty rare. So the reality is that there's only a couple of ways to do it. And that quote, I think, is just perfect. Because then it tells you what you should be doing and what you should be doing. You can get better at sales, or you can get better at running a real estate business.
Right. Hey, this is Robert and Jason. We'll be back. Oh, yeah, Zeus, I totally agree. Grant's ego was off the charts. Off the charts. But you know why it was off the charts? Because in the last 2 years, he has acquired $1.4 billion worth of real estate, 7,000 doors. I think he's popped his head up and said, I don't need to be on the same stage as these other people.
No.
Tony Robbins does not have $1 billion education business.
Boy, that'd be an interesting question. Everyone who follows Tony, what do you think Tony's net worth is?
Yeah. Go ahead, look that up. Not a lot. He got in tax trouble, right?
Yeah, he got in some tax trouble.
Yeah, his ego was off the charts. But I think it was because he walked into the room thinking and knowing this guy's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, you want to talk about sales? We can talk about sales. We do $80 million worth of training, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Now, he said some blue suit stuff that bothered me.
Yeah.
And when they talked about sales, it all bothered me, right?
Yeah.
But I think he walked in that room saying, this guy's a one-trick pony. What is it? So even Tony's estimated net worth is $500 million.
Regardless of your age, all you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free. Call U.S.
Oh, it was totally alpha male stuff. Yeah, it just got stupid. It just got stupid.
10 seconds.
Who else watched it? Have you guys all watched it? Let me know who you thought was the bigger buffoon.
Yeah, here's a little stat for you. Only 7% of businesses ever crack $1 million a year in sales.
Wow.
So when you get these guys that are walking around beating their chests, I want to be a millionaire wholesaler and flipper. No, you're not. Statistically, why would I get into an industry where you've got a 7%, and that's of successful firms.
Right.
You have a 7% chance of even getting gross sales, right? So how many of these guys actually make $1 million a year? It's really, really, really small. I am telling you, when you start making a couple $100,000 a year and you're approaching $1 million a year in flipping and wholesaling, you are in an infinitesimally small room. It's like 10 guys across the country.
Right, but there's how many wholesalers are going to be able to do $1 billion?
None.
How many flipping companies are going to do $1 billion?
There's
right?
no way.
How many education companies, even Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah.
How many are going to get to $1 billion?
Yeah, what was it, Tony, at 550?
500 million.
So Tony's worth $500 million. I don't know what their gross is.
Right.
Their gross could be $2 billion.
But here comes Uncle Grant.
Yep.
Who's already acquired $1.something billion with 7,000 doors. It's going to take this thing up to $10 billion in probably about that many years, 10 years, in real estate. We're all in the same business, right?
Yep.
We're not going to get to 10 billion, but $1 billion's not out of the question for what we do. If we keep going this for the next 10 years, that's certainly not out of the question. Certainly when we start going deeper and deeper and getting cheaper and cheaper capital.
Yeah, what I think people miss is you want to become a billionaire in real estate, buy $1 billion in real estate and sit on it for 7 years.
Yeah, of course.
And
Double
now all
your
of a sudden
money.
you're worth $1 billion.
Yeah.
That's what makes real estate so much easier to acquire wealth than starting a sales company, a house flipping company, a wholesaling company. I'd rather do Airbnb and hotels and small apartments because I know where those values are going.
The other big thing on that whole video, guys, and just so you're aware of it, nobody looked bad. There were no bad results from that video. Both those guys have got more and more traction.
Oh, yeah.
Right? What happens now is when you have something that's polarizing like that, the people that you are attracting to you naturally are going to become more attractive to you. Right? They're going to come in. Grant will raise more money off of that video, and Jordan will sell more of his programs off of that video, right? No one's losing. In fact, what we're doing today is just building up our following by talking about it. And there are 40 other videos out there, a whole bunch of other guys that are all playing off of it. And when an event like that happens, what happens in our world is just people get the people that we attract closer to us.
Yeah.
It just becomes a marketing event.
Yeah, it's a big marketing.
That's it. There's no way Grant's fund is going to collapse because of that thing. It's
just going to get bigger.
It'll get bigger. And his 10X is at Mandalay Bay. We might go this year because we got invited. So
okay, go hang out with Grant. That'd be fun.
Yep.
So if you guys want to get involved with us, our mastermind program, our real estate clubs, you want to buy some properties, 281-408-9. Oh,
401-9008. Join the Mr. Texas Real Estate Group on Facebook. That's where we do most of our communications. Yeah, so hold on a second. Where are they all? Well, they shifted over, huh?
Yeah, Zeus, I totally agree with that. Grant's doing everything he's doing right now just for the fund. That's all.
Cardone Capital.
Cardone Capital.
Yeah.
Pour all that money into there.
He's taking as little as $5,000 from non-accredited investors, which is a nightmare.
I wouldn't do that, but
right, he is putting a ton of pressure downward pressure on his organization to manage that stuff.
Yeah, but he's going to buy $10 billion worth of real estate, and you got to do it $5,000 at a time. I think
really, all he needs to buy is $5 billion, and wait the extra 5-6 years, right?
You know, I saw him give it was an interview or just talking off the cuff, and he said, he told his wife, he's like, look, there's only 2 things you need to do when I die: sell the plane and sell they evidently have that big condo in Miami. He's like, sell a condo and sell the plane. Do not sell anything else.
Right.
Like, he's got strict instructions. Do not sell anything else because he knows if he holds on to that stuff long enough, they'll be set up for life.
Right.
So
a couple lives.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, thanks for watching. My computer is shutting down because it needs to do some updates, and we'll